It's time to go back to the catalog and listen to more Falling in Reverse. This one's called Voices in My Head. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ultimate YouTube channel. It's your girl, Rosalie. This is so freaking powerful. Guess what time it is? Let's keep this short and simple, but I had to come on here. So often we're stuck in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. Are you ready? Shout out to Epitaph Records for allowing us to review music from amazing artists from around the world. What am I to expect from this one? Voices in My Head. Perfect for this channel. We're all about mental health and psychology. Usually when we hear voices in our head, there's a sign that something might not be quite right. What is Ronnie talking about here? Are you ready? Very first screenshot that I see is what looks like someone in prison with that orange suit, the bald head. It makes me think of Superman's nemesis, Lex Luthor, in one of those Legion movies where his head is shaved off, he's bald headed, and he's in prison. So that's where my mind is going. Mentally being unstable, mentally ill. Is that what this is about? We'll find out. Here we go.
The voices in my head keep on telling me to pray, cause I'm spinning like a carousel, circling the train. Hit the bottom of the bottle, I don't wanna feel the pain, but that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about. The voices in my head keep on begging me
Avatar
to stay.
much?
If I pull the trigger now, then the demons go away. And I know my time is coming, so there ain't no time to waste. So that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about.
Okay, no. I'm rewinding and starting over. The third eye. Listen, first I'm thinking prisoner, like I said. Now I'm thinking Avatar, because what's his face? The Avatar wears orange too, doesn't he? Am I thinking of Naruto right now? I'm thinking of Naruto, but he's not bald. The Avatar, doesn't he wear orange too? No, not the Avatar movies. The Avatar, the original Avatar, the Airbender, the Earthbender, Avatar movie, the Airbender. He is bald-headed, the last Airbender. Avatar, the last Airbender. Come on, I got to figure this out. The last Airbender cartoon. He's a bald-headed little guy, and he knows how to do all kinds of things. And he wears, it's more like reddish orange, and he has an arrow on his forehead, so that's missing here. But he was that blue eyeshadow? I don't know. My mind is all over the place. Are we talking prisoner who's mentally ill? Are we talking some Airbender, the last Airbender Avatar individual who can float in the air? The third eye's opening up now. There's voices in my head, but my time is coming. What time? Time to unleash the demons, time to go crazy, time to show everybody I'm actually a hero. I don't know. Where are we going? Let me start over.
Voices in my head keep on telling me to pray, cause I'm spinning like a carousel, circling the train. Hit the
Spinning
bottom of the
like a
bottle,
carousel?
I don't wanna feel the pain, but that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about. The voices in my head keep on begging me to stay. If I pull the trigger now, then the demons go away.
Don't hate me. I will rewind one last time and then I will shut up for the rest of the song. I promise. I'm also thinking of Hannibal Lecter right now. That cage in the middle of the room. Hannibal Lecter movies, anyone? Okay. Picture painted. Mentally ill, something's not quite right. A person who is waiting for their time, whatever that looks like. Freedom from prison, letting loose with all the fantasies and diving into those voices in the head. Or someone who may be more powerful than we realize, getting ready to let loose. I don't know. This is amazing.
The voices in my head keep on telling me to pray, cause I'm spinning like a carousel, circling the train. Hit the bottom of the bottle, I don't wanna feel the pain, but that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about. The voices in my head keep on begging me to stay. If I pull the trigger now, then the demons go away. And I know my time is coming, so there ain't no time to waste. So that is all I got for now. I don't wanna talk about. The voices in my head keep telling me to choose a side. It's heaven or hell, like it's do or die. I'm a sad boy, you know better. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep telling me I'm not okay. It's feeling like a hurricane in my brain. Hard clouds, hard times, bad weather. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep on telling me I'm gonna. And I don't wanna talk about the drama. They're telling me I'm fine, but we both know that's a fucking lie. I'm losing my mind, but I don't wanna talk about it. Voices in my head keep giving me the worst advice. Kamikaze crash like a suicide. I'm a lost boy, you know better. Please don't make this last forever. Voices in my head keep telling me that I'm insane, and maybe I'm a little bit that won't change. Hard clouds, hard times, bad weather. Please don't make this last forever. The voices in my head keep on telling me I'm my head keep on telling me I'm cursed. I'm paranoid, I don't wanna make it any worse. We're all gonna die, but first things first, I'ma take the world with me when they put me in the dirt. The voices in my head keep on telling me I'm cursed. I'm paranoid, I don't wanna make it any worse. We're all gonna die, but first things first, I'ma take the world with me when they put me in the dirt. Move!
Oh, snap. Wow. This is the perfect song to talk about on this channel. That composition was incredible. That drop, the crescendo build, the drums, the hook, the precision, his almost operatic voice, so much vocal control, so much training. I wish I could sing like that. The vocal range, I already said that. And I love the way they play together. And it had this melodic rap feel in the beginning, elements of pop and, dare I say, just a hint of hip hop. It had you wanting to bounce a bit. That's what it felt like. And it's such a stark contrast to how dark and how deep not only the lyrics are, but the whole music video. And so there is that duality alone in having a beat that makes you want to just windmill and bang your head and go nuts. That heavy rock mixed with some of the pop, mixed with some of that rap feeling, the pop-like elements in his voice at times, that hook. It was fitting to the whole pop-like rock composition, but it almost sounds like a mocking chant. Na 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 na, ay 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 ay, and it makes me think of these voices in your head that mock you. This hook, this loop that plays where you find yourself like on a carousel going in a circle, and it was fitting how the camera was spinning as it was getting closer to him, how he's there levitating. And as I mentioned at the beginning, all these different movies and characters came to my mind. And at first, I didn't know where this was going to go. Are we talking about someone who is in prison trying to break free to cause havoc? Is this someone who is looked at as crazy, but actually is just waiting to show the world his moment is coming? He's more amazing than we could have ever realized. Why on earth is he floating? What in the unicorn farts is going on? And then this third eye opens and it lets us into his mind. We get to see what his third eye looks like, into his mind's eye, basically, that gateway into his mind. And when it comes to the topic of voices in my head, since we're speaking of psychology, I think in the past and even nowadays, a lot of times we have certain diagnoses, certain things that we've learned about what people may or may not be suffering from if they have voices in their head. There's various personality disorders, there's various mental disorders that we know of, where we have textbooks like the DSM-5 that we look at and we go, okay, this person has these and these symptoms, they may have such and such. And it has to be a doctor, it has to be a psychiatrist who diagnoses. A psychologist or a counselor and therapist can't. It has to be a psychiatrist, a medically trained doctor, psychiatrist, who will diagnose and who now also can prescribe medication. So we have this idea about what it means when someone has voices in their head. I think, however, that more people than we realize have that struggle where it's not necessarily literal auditive voices or things that they actually see, where now we're talking, it may be schizophrenia and other disorders. It may be a person that is struggling with the thoughts that are popping in their mind. Those are the voices. So I like that this song is broad enough to say this is not just about someone with schizophrenia who actually hears and sees things. This is about people who are at war within themselves, literally. And that was incredibly well that was portrayed incredibly well in the music video. He was constantly killing himself. He was not safe anywhere. That's a big message I'm taking from this. I am not safe from myself. One version of himself was killing another. And he was fighting this, not even fighting, he was constantly just at war within himself, destroying himself in his mind. And in the beginning, it shed light on that turmoil because he said the bottom of the bottle, right? He's reaching to substances, to alcohol to try to numb the pain, to quiet the turmoil. But in the mind, you have one version of himself after the other, destroying himself and it leading to despair, to destruction, and various ways too. That's also something to be noted. It wasn't just the same way of dying all the time. We find that in reoccurring dreams sometimes where you have the same type of dream over and over again, but it's various versions. It may be a different person that is doing the same thing. It may be the same setting, but different people, or it may be the same feeling you wake up with, but a few different things happened. Here too, we're not having the same death over and over again. It's all kinds of ways. It's almost like, and that's how I'm interpreting it, my mind is doing everything and anything it can to destroy me. Always. From hanging to shooting to cutting. All of it self-destructive, one version after the other. And he was not safe anywhere. No place he could go to, nothing he could do, to the point that he is in that elevator, which is also a very powerful imagery with that elevator music playing in the background. The hook that continued in the background, almost muffled, which makes me wonder, is this him and his subconscious, right? Deep down in the mind. As we know, look at psychology, we see these different concepts that talk about the ego and the superego. Is this maybe him in the depths of his consciousness where the echo that I was muffled and not as audible, and he's up in his mind, his neurons firing wherever he's traveling to, now stepping out to face a bunch of versions of himself. And where the lyrics to me, and we're going to go into them just a little bit more, where the lyrics to me portray this concept of complete hopelessness. I'm looking into the bottle to find some type of, relief. I know my time is coming. There's no time to waste. The voices in my head telling me I'm not okay. I feel like a hurricane in my brain, dark clouds, hard times, bad weather. I mean, if there's not a better way to display not only a mental disorder, but people who are struggling with depression, with self-harm, with suicidal ideation, with anxiety, various people with OCD. We sometimes think that's just a matter of wanting all your pencils in one line. No, OCD can be very painful to deal with because we're talking compulsion, we're talking obsession. So there's various disorders people suffer from that make them feel at war within themselves. And it's not just a matter of finding a diagnosis in a textbook and slapping that on. That often may help to know what's going on with you, but also may make you feel even more alone. And so I feel like this song really puts in words how dark it feels. The drama, the trauma, the voices in my head keep telling me I'm going to die. That part to me may also be bigger than just saying, hey, I'm at war within myself. I want to possibly end it. Suicidal ideation. Or I don't like myself. I'm traumatized. We're dealing with PTSD here, perhaps. A lot of anxiety that comes with it. Maybe this is also someone dealing with the fear of death. Not only wanting to die and self-harm and self-destruction, but afraid of death. These voices, these thoughts that go, I'm going to die. I can't do this. I'm going to die. And that looks different for different people. For some, it may be this desire to die. For others, it may be paranoia. I mean, it could be so many different disorders and distresses here that are being addressed. And I think that's what makes this song powerful, even though it's so dark, is because it's relatable to many who go, yes, I know all about those voices in my head. Maybe I can't auditively hear them, but I have those thoughts bombarding me and I feel distraught and I feel like I'm not safe anywhere. And that's a very lonely place to be. And I love that we can have music that brings awareness to these topics and that can make us feel less alone, for us to shed light on what's going on in the mind. It's hard to convey that, right? I've just said that to a friend of mine. I know what it's like to be in a place of complete despair, to feel like I'm in the depths of despair. Not to sound dramatic and poetic, but literally, I don't know what other words would do it justice, where you feel like you have these existential fears, you feel distraught, dark thoughts pop in like maybe my family would be better off, and not just from a self-pity standpoint, oh, nobody wants me, but truly feeling like maybe they would be better off. Maybe someone else can do this job better. And maybe there's just no hope. I mean, I know what it's like to feel completely distraught. And you cannot put in words exactly what you're thinking and feeling. Sometimes you don't even know for sure because you think you're going crazy. And I told my friend that is such a lonely place to be. And so I think we all need that type of community. And we can find that through music at times, where someone else can go, I'm going to put in a song, in words, what that darkness looks like, and many others going, I'm not alone. Me too. The voices in my head keep telling me I'm going to die. Is this also maybe death anxieties to a degree, as I mentioned? Losing my mind, I don't want to talk about it. And I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it, not necessarily because they don't want to talk about it, but because they don't know how to. The voices in my head keep giving me the worst advice. Kamikaze crash like a suicide. I'm a lost boy. That makes me think of Netherlands. And that's deep. Netherlands. The... I'm a lost boy. Peter Pan. Thank you. Makes me think of Peter Pan. And that to me is interesting because lost boy, on one hand, a grown man who is saying, I feel like a boy. That inner child that either feels not worthy. Like if people were to really see the true me, maybe they will see how young and vulnerable and hurt I really am. But it also makes me think of our existential fears, because the idea of Peter Pan and the Lost Boys was kids that would never grow up. And so I think there's this duality too about that inner child hurting who needs healing. Some have said that the goal of therapy is to become your own father and mother. We need to heal ourselves and be for ourselves what we would have needed as kids. And then that drop was nuts. I'm paranoid. I don't want to make it any worse. We're all going to die. First things first. And so what is powerful to me is that while the lyrics are very dark and it sheds light on the turmoil in his mind, and we get to see through his mind's eye, while the lyrics keep repeating thematically, the music video and all of it works together to make this the piece of art it is. The music video is telling us a different story. Yes, it's telling us how he is destroying himself and he's at war within himself. But then the drop kicks in and the musical composition changes. It changes how we felt when we listened. It made us want to get up and scream. It made us feel empowered. This type of track is something I would want to roll and do jujitsu to. It's badass. But that drop, the crescendo, how it just went stripped down to the drums, right? Sometimes stripping things down also means we're getting raw and real. And that's when he started fighting. And those martial arts moves were amazing. And then again, in that elevator, maybe his subconscious, that mocking melody still playing in the background. He steps out, he faces himself. And what does he do? He has a fairly stoic face. So he's not shocked and dismayed because he's used to this. He's used to all these voices, all these versions of himself coming to get him. So he stands there almost unfazed, which could be representative of being paralyzed, feeling numb to it, or maybe having grown resilient. You can take it either way. Hot water will do different things to different things. It makes the egg hard. It makes the potato soft. So you may look at this and say, I feel paralyzed. I'm not going to even respond to the masses out here that are facing me. Or it could be, as I said, a reflection of a state that says, I'm resilient. I'm going to fight. And he starts running like in war towards the opponent. You see that in movies, in war, two sides just running, attack. And here you have this one guy against the masses of those versions of himself, and he starts fighting. And to me, that is so freaking empowering to say, this is my reality. This is the darkness. We're not going to romanticize how dark darkness is. And we're not going to paint a picture that is just specifically for someone with one certain diagnosis. No, this is relatable to all kinds of disorders, mental disorders, personality disorders, and just your average human being. Disorder or not, label aside for a minute, people. There are people hurting. You might be hurting. And this song may relate with you because, for one, it's badass, but also it's fitting to so many people's stories. But the idea that I'm taking from it is that he fought. And even though they took him down and he's laying down there and it feels hopeless, it zooms back out. We're leaving his mind and he's still sitting there floating. He's still alive. And that's something that is important to remember, my friend. When you are attacked by your anxiety, by your depression, or by thoughts of self-harm, suicidal ideation, my first biggest plea is seek help. Call the hotline, reach out. You don't have to fight only in your mind alone. There's other people that can fight with and for you. But also, we can take this story different ways. We can say, well, he fought those masses and versions of himself and he still ended up on the ground. Or we can say, but he was still alive because once we left his mind, he was still floating and meditating and looked still very much alive. Yes, he was still in the cage. Granted, the cage didn't explode. It wasn't all happy ending. But he was still breathing. And sometimes there's something cute, therapeutic about remembering that too, is that the war that's going on in your mind is not the whole story. It's a loud story, I know. And it's a hard battle. And it feels hopeless. But you are still alive, my friend. You are still breathing. And there are things going around in your world that you can feel and smell and touch that prove to you that you are very much still here. You are not dead yet. And you get to decide if you're going to fight and if you're going to blast some music like this and find new hope. And that's what makes music so therapeutic too. I feel like this song alone, just from a musical standpoint, could pull some people out of a funk for a moment. It can't fix everything. I know there's needs for therapy. There's a need for medication sometime. There's a need for hardcore intervention at times, for rehab, for community, for relationship, good food, fresh air. Yes, there's more needed than just a good song. But I hope that even listening to this can help pull some excitement out of some of you, can get those endorphins going and that dopamine going and some of that adrenaline going as you're getting hype. Start moving your body. If you're feeling depressed right now, blast this again and start jumping around. Start punching the air. Start just pretending that you know how to do some martial arts, or maybe you do, and start feeling how that might affect your mental health too by just moving and by finding that little spark inside of you that goes, you know what? I'm not going down today. Find that warrior inside of you to go, I will fight those voices in my head. That is not who I am. They are part of you. They're part of your story. That's not your whole identity. So if you're hurting right now, if you are considering suicide, if you're not okay, reach out for help. Please know you don't have to fight alone. Please know you're not the only one hurting, but there is hope, my friend. You are loved. You matter. This was empowering to me. I hope it empowers you too.
Hey, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next ride.
Hey, yo.